Chapter 179 An Avenging Spirit in front of a Necromancer. At the start, Hua Yua could still accurately judge and adapt using his ghost shadow perplexing track, but now was getting faster and faster. The wind blades unleashed from her swift blade were also increasing. A new batch of wind blades would appear before he had a chance to dispel the previous batch. The entire place was filled with green lights, and Hua Yua had disappeared within them. Hua Yua had no choice but to unleash his ice empress armor, as he was under immense pressure. The diamond ice crystals resisted the wind blades. Piercingly sharp noises were released when both powers clashed. Hua Yua seemed to be at more and more at a disadvantage, but now was also a little anxious. Hua Yua's defensive soul skills were very strong, and her wind blades had a negligible effect on him. The swift blade was much inferior to the scarlet flame blade in terms of offensive strength, and could be blocked by Hua Yua using just his hands. They were stuck in a stalemate. Now didn't really have much of an advantage. If this is all you're capable of, you're going to lose. Hua Yua's voice sounded in her ears. Following that, Hua Yua's footsteps became a little messy, and his speed increased slightly. His dark golden terraclaws appeared again. However, he wasn't just resisting the swift blade this time. Rather, he was also attacking Nana. Nana's momentum was such that she couldn't dodge when Hua Yua positioned his terraclaws right at a specific position that she had to cross. She clashed with them heavily, using her blade to block their attack. However, it wasn't just a simple meeting of blades this time. Hua Yua's terraclaws closed up, and his body was about to ram into Nana. The two of them were approaching each other rapidly. Oh no. Nana's third soul ring lit up as she reacted, and her body turned illusory. Hua Yua brushed past her, and there was no impact between the two of them. This was Nana's third soul skill, Spectre Possession. She could turn her body into a spectre, and not be struck by anything physical, but only for a second. It was a life-saving technique. She couldn't attack as this soul skill was unleashed, which was why Nana hadn't used it before, but she couldn't hold back this skill any longer. When their paths crossed, her fourth soul ring also lit up. Her shadow detached from her body as she paled, and it suddenly landed on Hua Yua's body. Hua Yua was engulfed by a layer of black gas. He couldn't move even though he struggled mightily. Nana suddenly turned back and burst towards him with a swift blade. She slashed the blade towards his neck. This was the effect of her fourth soul skill, Avenging Spirit. Her soul skill had a powerful restraining effect, but it had a lot of restrictions. It was operated using her spiritual power, but if the opponent couldn't be restricted, she would suffer from the backlash. I've won, Nana said to herself in her heart. However, she abruptly realized that something was amiss when she saw the look in Hua Yua's eyes. He was too calm. He didn't seem to be restrained. Hua Yua was a little amused at this point. In his mind, Elder Yu remarked, she must be tired of living, using an avenging spirit in front of a necromancer. As Nana realized something was wrong, Hua Yua's eyes turned grey, and an indescribable fear instantly engulfed Nana. Following this, Hua Yua seemed to mutter something. The avenging spirit surrounding Hua Yua's body instantly disappeared, seeming to fuse into Hua Yua's body. No backlash occurred. Nana only felt a sense of emptiness, and staggered a little, but she still managed to react. Her fifth soul ring lit up, and she reached out with her left hand. A small and short white dagger that was only 5 inches long was flung towards Hua Yua at lightning speed. This was Nana's trump card. She finally used it as she was in deep peril. It was a class 6 close combat soul tool, the blink knife. The throwing knife didn't make a sound, but it instantly reached Hua Yua. Hua Yua had been too careless. When he used Elihu's necromancy to deal with the avenging spirit, he had the ability to restrain Nana's martial soul through their soul connection, and had done so. That's why Nana's fifth soul skill wasn't really unleashed. However, the blink knife still reached him. The knife was hidden in a storage ring on Nana's left hand. It possessed a tremendous destructive strength. In this critical situation, Hua Yua had no choice but to lift his hand to block the knife. The Ice Empress pincer didn't completely resist the blink knife. His palm was instantly pierced. However, the Ice Empress pincer and mysterious jade hand's defensive strength managed to buy Hua Yua some time. He lifted his hand as he looked backward. The blink knife almost kissed Hua Yua's face as it flew past him. It turned into a streak of white light as it went on by, and only stopped when it hit the defensive barrier around the arena. Hua Yua broke out in a cold sweat, even though it was a sudden change. He was too careless, and had almost been killed by the blink knife. Fresh blood flowed from his left hand. His expression also turned colder. He shrugged his left hand and sealed the blood on it, then continued to attack Nana. Nana was indeed resilient. She couldn't get closer to control the blink knife without the help of her martial soul. Otherwise, she believed that she would have won. Even so, she continued to wield the swift blade and slashed at Hua Yua, but Hua Yua's gaze was extremely cold now. Boom, 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 boom. A series of booms rang out in front of Nana. Hua Yua's blood also contained soul power. He used his own blood to unleash the ice explosion technique, and forced Nana back with a series of explosions, and the swift blade was also torn from her hand. She couldn't resist the explosions in such a condition. Hua Yua didn't chase after her. He only shouted, "Don't move." Nana's body suddenly jerked, and she was actually frozen in place. She was horrified. She couldn't understand why her body didn't listen to her. "You're so intent on killing me. We're only sparring," Hua Yua said coldly. He slowly placed the dark golden terraclaws in front of Nana. The wound on his left hand had already been sealed by ice, and stopped bleeding. Nana couldn't calm down at this point. This situation that she couldn't comprehend left her extremely afraid. "I've won." Hua Yua wasn't above hitting a woman, but the killing spirit that he restrained wouldn't be unleashed at this point. Electrolux taught him that there were different regions in a person's spirit, even though it was a complete entity. He had also taught Hua Yua the different capabilities of a human's body. Nana's avenging spirit aimed to restrain a person's movements, which was why it now controlled Nana's own movements. After her avenging spirit was snatched using necromancy, Hua Yua easily found the characteristic of her spirit, which was why he could restrain her now. If Hua Yua destroyed this part of her spirit, she might be paralyzed. Without her spirit, she would be unable to move. He relaxed his will and released his control on Nana before turning around. He walked back towards the waiting area. His energy had been greatly depleted in this battle. Nana chased after him and shouted, "What did you do to me?" If it was somewhere else, others might misunderstand her words, but no one could sense the fear in Nana's heart at this moment. When Hua Yua had controlled her body, she felt as if she lost something important. Hua Yua said, "You're the one who's been attacking me." She wanted to question him further, but she realized that she once again couldn't move. She could only watch as Hua Yua walked away. Her fear grew stronger. She couldn't sense Hua Yua unleashing any undulations of soul power. The force that was restraining her seemed to come from inside her. This also meant that she wasn't being restrained by one of his soul skills. After she thought of how her avenging spirit had disappeared earlier, she roughly guessed that it was a side effect that was more scary than a direct backlash. While the avenging spirit was powerful, it became her nightmare once it met a worthy opponent. The restraint on Nana was only removed when Hua Yua reached the waiting area, leaving her trembling. At this point, she didn't dare pester him anymore, as she thought of how completely helpless she was in front of him, but she could only let him do what he wanted. She wanted to kill him. Hua Yua didn't think about it too much. He was furious, as Nana had almost killed him. He decided to punish her since she hadn't treated this as a sparring match. He was going to keep this spirit with him, and he would only return it to her after some time. "Do you need a break?" Sun Wen's voice was gentle. He had seen Nana's actions, but had been too late to stop her. They had clashed at such close range that even the Hallmaster of Illustrious Virtue Hall wouldn't have been able to separate the two of them if he was the referee. Sun Wen was surprised when Hua Yua shook his head and said, "I'm all right. I can keep going." "Oh." Sun Wen was stunned and asked, "Are you certain?" Hua Yua nodded and replied, "Yes." Although he was curious as to why Hua Yua had chosen not to rest, Sun Wen still respected his choice and called for the fourth competitor. The fourth competitor was nearly 2 meters tall. He was extremely burly, and his shoulders were very broad, which caused him to appear very tough. The moment he entered the waiting area, he lifted his right hand and hooked his index finger towards Hua Yua. He then extended his thumb and wriggled them together in front of Hua Yua condescendingly. Everyone couldn't help but laugh as they saw him doing this, the depressing atmosphere turning rapturous again as they did so. This student evidently wanted to repay Hua Yua tit for tat as he tackled Hua Yua's arrogance with his own haughtiness. Hua Yua turned to look towards Sun Wen and then asked, "Teacher Sun, can we start?" "All right. The match begins." Sun Wen only realized that both parties had forgotten to name themselves after he'd announced the start of the match. He'd made a mistake. However, he soon witnessed the end of this round. Huo Yuao's opponent immediately moved as soon as the round began. A heavy soul shield appeared in his hands, followed by thick armor on his body. However, Huo Yuao didn't burst forward like he had in the previous 3 rounds this time. Instead, his golden spirit eyes gained a purple hue, and a ray of golden purple flames were unleashed from them a moment later. Even Sun Wen felt his surroundings light up a little. A moment later, the previously conceded student groaned and then collapsed to the ground, along with his soul shield and armor. Huo Yuao wriggled his wrist, after which the short spear that had appeared earlier appeared in his palm. He twisted his head towards Sun Wen and asked, "Teacher Sun, are you confident in my accuracy? I should be able to hit my target accurately within 150 meters. It's over." Sun Wen couldn't conceal the shock in his eyes. He hadn't expected Huo Yuao's spiritual type soul skills to be effective over such a long distance. Furthermore, his opponent had been a 5-ring soul king, yet he hadn't been able to resist at all. Huo Yuao didn't even need to throw his spear. This student wasn't likely to get up anytime soon. "You've won," Sun Wen said with a little difficulty. The surrounding commotion instantly turned to silence. Huo Yuao raised his right hand, and then extended 4 fingers. He'd not only completed, but had won 4 rounds in less than an hour. Aside from his battle with Nana, he'd overwhelmed all of his opponents up to this point. Jing Hengchen was a little restless as he sat in the main spectator stand. He discovered that, to his horror, Huo Yuao's spiritual type martial soul was actually extremely powerful. A class 5 soul engineer had been knocked out in a single blow, even though he was 150 meters away. Who could challenge him? In the soul tool department, there wasn't any student who specialized in dealing with spiritual type soul skills. After all, spiritual type soul masters were quite rare. Based on his soul skill, it was evident that Huo Yuao had been holding back in the previous rounds of the competition. The rest definitely wouldn't have been able to bear this spiritual type attack of his. Huo Yuao chose to rest after completing the 4th round. He sat down cross-legged and began to meditate. He wanted to go for one more round in order to deplete more of his energy. This had been to allow his spiritual and soul power to recover together as he meditated. The first few students to challenge Huo Yuao had been the best of the class 5 soul engineers. Thus, the later rounds of the competition were even easier for Huo Yuao. After resting for a short while, Huo Yuao continued with the competition. He completely dominated and won 17 rounds in the morning. He only stopped to rest when noon approached. No further cheers were heard from the spectators. The most shocking thing was that the skills he was using seemed very simple, apart from his spiritual shock. But even the spectators couldn't tell how these simple skills were able to achieve such powerful and shocking effects. 17 consecutive rounds. Huo Yuao had benefited greatly at this stage. Not only had he won 17 kilos of rare metal, but he also received the stakes wagered upon earlier. After stopping for a quick lunch, he didn't leave the soul tool experimentation area. He found a resting place and quickly restored his energy and power beneath the protection of the other Shrek students. Huo Yuao was still a human, not a god. He fought for 17 rounds straight against the elite class 5 soul engineers of the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy at this point. His opponents had watched his previous rounds and tried to adapt to these changes. However, Huo Yuao's fighting strategy had also changed. He thought of as many ways as possible to achieve victory without exposing too much of his abilities since he couldn't use soul tools. He was already fatigued after a long morning of battling. However, this fatigue was refreshing in a sense. The feeling of venting left Huo Yuao very refreshed. He also felt that his soul power had increased during his deep meditation. Lin Jie had mentioned that he would only be facing class 5 soul engineers today. Tomorrow, he would face the class 6 soul engineers. As for the 3rd day, the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy would give Huo Yuao the authority to choose who he wanted to challenge from the illustrious Virtue Hall as a form of reward for him. After all, challenging the high-level soul engineers would be a valuable experience for Huo Yuao. He would also be able to use his soul tools on the 3rd day. Fan Wu sat to one side and watched Huo Yuao. He revealed a slight smile and comforting look on his face. Although he couldn't say that the ultimate soldier plan had succeeded yet, he was clearly aware of Huo Yuao's performance in the battles today. This was the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy, where the most talented soul engineers in the continent resided. And yet, even these soul engineers with higher cultivations than him weren't able to beat him. He was only 15 years old. Besides the fact that his soul power increased very slowly, Huo Yuao was almost perfect. Huo Yuao had 2 hours to rest in the afternoon. After these 2 hours passed and Huo Yuao reappeared in the soul tool experimentation arena, he was already full of energy again. However, he was still a bit fatigued from the morning full of sparring. The time he took rest between each opponent increased with each. Finally, he defeated 30 more competitors and ended the day with a total of 30 victories. When it was close to dark, the students from the Sun Moon Academy walked out of the soul tool experimentation arena with serious looks on their faces. The looks in their eyes was a little heavy. 15 years old. This was nearly a 15-year-old soul master from Shrek Academy. He'd somehow defeated 30 class 5 soul engineers, including more than 70% of the grade 6 students, without any soul tools. This also meant that practically no one could defeat him, apart from those in the illustrious Virtue Hall. This was a humiliation. Tomorrow, the class 6 soul engineers from the illustrious Virtue Hall were going to compete. But could they really win? The effects that Jing Hengchen wanted to see had been realized, albeit a little too heavily. Not all the students' fighting spirits had been motivated. A few of the students were in low spirits and doubted soul tools after witnessing Huo Yuao's strong showing. This wasn't something that Jing Hengchen had wanted to see. We're rich, ha ha ha. Yi Xiaoshang laughed in Huo Yuao's room. Currently, Fan Hu, Hikeitu, Huo Yuao, and Yi Xiaoshang were all standing around. Huo Yuao had just finished dinner and was about to collapse. If not for the life gold's life power that enabled him to recover faster than an ordinary person, he wouldn't have been able to last until now. The life gold's power was indeed quite great. The wound on his left hand had already fully recovered despite the fact that it had only been a day. Huo Yuao leaned on his bed and felt very refreshed as his body relaxed. Brother Sheng, how much did we profit? Yi Xiaoshang chortled. The odds that you wouldn't clear 10 rounds for 3 to 1. Most people wagered on this. Their bets took up more than half of our total bets. With just these alone, we'd already earned quite a lot. Then there's the odds that you wouldn't clear 20 rounds, which were 1 to 1. Those are also in our pockets now. The remaining 20% of the wagers are on you not being able to clear 50 rounds. Even if you don't clear 50 rounds, we'll only have to pay 20% of what we have. We've profited a lot, no matter what happens. I believe that the rare metals we've won are equivalent to a year of the Sun Moon Empire's production of these metals as well. Huo Yuao shook his head and then said, Brother Sheng, don't be too delighted. Tomorrow, several people will bet on me not being able to clear 50 rounds. Ugh. Surely not? Yi Xiaoshang was stunned for a moment. Hikeitu added, why not? Brother Sheng, think about it. The most talented soul engineers in the Sun Moon Empire are enrolled in this academy. And then there's the illustrious Virtue Hall. They're definitely wealthier than we think they are. Little Junior, do you remember the soul tool produced by the illustrious Virtue Hall that we saw in the Starlight Auction House? It was extremely costly. It was already extremely tough to survive 30 rounds. Why don't we cancel betting for tomorrow? Huo Yuao shook his head and said, no, let the betting continue. Otherwise, it'll affect my fighting spirit. From the odds, we'll only lose our profits if I eventually lose and they increase their wager. Moreover, I may not lose. I'll give it my all tomorrow. Yi Xiaoshang's lips twisted a little, and he laughed bitterly. Talking to the both of you dampens my spirit. I shall not talk to the both of you anymore. Teacher Fan Wu, I'm leaving first. You're already so ferocious today, but it's still not your. Gosh. Yi Xiaoshang was depressed as he walked out with his hands on his forehead. Huo Yuao and Hikeitu couldn't help but think of how he had asked them to call him Brother Sheng as he left. They grinned as that thought crossed their minds. Fan Wu stood up and said, Yuao, take a break. I don't have many instructions for you. Give it your best tomorrow, but safety comes first. You should know how important you are to Shrek. Yes, teacher. I won't be careless again. Huo Yuao sat up straight on his bed and wanted to send them off. However, he was stopped by Fanhu and Hikeitu. After that, the two of them left on their own. Huo Yuao dragged himself up and forced himself into a cross-legged position. He couldn't just sleep. Otherwise, his efforts for the day would be wasted. It was only through restoring his energy and his cultivation state could he assimilate the gains he had made during the sparring today. The doorbell suddenly rang. As he was too tired, Huo Yuao didn't unleash his spiritual detection. He assumed that it was either Fanhu or Hikeitu, and so took in a deep breath and walked to the door. However, it was neither of them. Rather, it was a young lady with a well-proportioned figure. She was Nana, the Soul King from the Active Control Soul Tool Department who he had defeated today. Why are you here? Huo Yuao furrowed his brows, but he wasn't too wary of her. Part of Nana's spirit was still under his control. If he wanted to, he could restrict her movements and even harm her. Nana furrowed her brows as she said, "Can I come in?" Although she wasn't that ravishing, her bravery gave her a sense of charm. This charm greatly accentuated her well-proportioned figure. Huo Yuao opened the door wide and gestured for her to enter. Nana entered the room, but Huo Yuao didn't close the door. It was too late, and it wasn't too appropriate for the two of them to be together in the same room. Thus it was better for the door to be left ajar. What's up? Huo Yuao was too tired, and went to take a seat on a chair at the side. Nana retorted, "I should be the one asking you that. What did you do to my body? How did you manage to control it?" She was filled with hatred as she demanded an answer. After she lost to Huo Yuao, the matter had been bothering her. She only came to talk to him after the entire competition was over. She didn't approach him as there were others with him, but only came to his room after Fanhu and Hikeitu had left. Huo Yuao answered indifferently, "I don't know what you're talking about. If there's nothing else, please excuse yourself. I still need to spar tomorrow." Nana was enraged. "You don't have the guts to admit it." Huo Yuao's brows lifted, and he said coldly, "What did I do? You're the one who unleashed your avenging spirit. You're also the one who tried to kill me. It's a joke that you're interrogating me now. Please see yourself out. You." Nana wanted to erupt, but she held it in. She bit her lips until they were red. "What exactly do you want? I can feel that my avenging spirit has been restrained by you. Return my spirit to me." Huo Yuao was stunned by her sensitive judgment. Nana continued to say, "Don't tell me it's not your doing. If my spirit was dissipated or destroyed by you, I would have been critically injured, but I'm fine. It's just that my body is not under my control. You must have done something to my spirit. Return it to me." Huo Yuao laughed and answered, "All right, even if I did so, why should I return it to you? You almost killed me. What right do you have to comment on my actions? I'll report you to the academy." Nana was furious. Huo Yuao pointed towards the door. "If you wish, but someone must believe you. Even if someone believes your words, what evidence do you have? To Soul Masters, our spirit is a magical thing. Even a titled Douluo can't claim to be completely familiarized with one's spirit. Moreover, no one can test that your spirit is with me." Nana's expression changed. As she saw Huo Yuao's calm look, she slowly walked to the door. Huo Yuao sniggered to himself. Since he was scared by her in the morning, he had to make her pay for it. However, his heart still softened. He would return her spirit to her once the competition was over. Nana walked very slowly. When she reached the door, she stopped in her tracks. She didn't leave, but shut the door. "Oh, what are you doing?" Huo Yuao stood up from his seat. Even though he was tired, his soul power was still in its peak condition. Furthermore, Nana was still under his control. Nana turned around, and 2 streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. Her body shuddered slightly, and her entire figure seemed to become illusory. Her clothing slipped off her body, revealing her naked figure. Huo Yuao was stunned. He didn't expect her to do that. Huo Yuao was shocked as he looked at her. Her figure was flawless. All women craved a body like hers. Undoubtedly, Nana was blessed in this area. There was no fat on her body, and her skin was extremely smooth and tender. Although her skin wasn't completely snow white, there was a healthy sense to it. Her slender waist was springy, and her flawless curves extended all the way down. As she wasn't facing Huo Yuao directly, he couldn't see everything, but he could still see her perky buttocks. Huo Yuao couldn't stand looking any further. At his age, one was supposed to be extremely curious but unclear about the matters of the heart. He had once sensed feminine beauty from Ma Shaodao, but he was very young then. That was why he wasn't as tempted, but he had developed biologically over the past 2 years. He panicked a little and turned around. After that, he said, "Put your clothes on. What are you doing?" Nana was teary-eyed as she said, "I know that you're an elite student from Shrek. I don't have anything valuable to exchange for my spirit. I can only use my body. I've never been touched by a guy. If you promise to return my spirit, I'll give my body to you." Huo Yuao hadn't expected something like this. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was a little anxious as he said, "Put your clothes on and get out immediately. When the sparring is done, I'll return your spirit." Nana was stunned for a moment, and only reacted after a while. Huo Yuao seemed to be scared of her current self, and looked rather pathetic. He wasn't as arrogant as he was earlier under everyone's gazes. Due to his outstanding performance during the sparring competition, many students now treated him as a target. In their eyes, Huo Yuao was a powerful soul master, but Nana now realized that he was still a 15-year-old youth. It seemed like she was reading too much into things. She blushed a little before hurriedly dressing herself. Huo Yuao was indeed awkward. He felt his nose getting hot as if it were about to bleed. Furthermore, he didn't dare to use his spiritual detection to tell whether she was done. After all, he would still be able to see her body. "I'm done." Nana replied softly. Huo Yuao heaved a sigh of relief at this point. He turned back to confirm that Nana was indeed dressed before turning his whole body around. His face heated up, and his nose was as hot as before. He tried to resist his nosebleed. Even though Huo Yuao tried his best to cover his nose, Nana still managed to see it. Nana broke out into laughter. "Quickly leave." Huo Yuao snapped. He was trying to expel the erotic scene from his mind. Nana was evidently not as furious as before. "You'll really return my spirit? Why not now? Why must it be after the end of the competition?" Huo Yuao said, "That's because I want to guarantee that you won't find trouble with me in the next 2 days. Quickly leave." Even he felt that his reply was a little incoherent. Nana took a deep look at Huo Yuao and said, "I hope that you can fulfill your promise. Anyway, I've nothing that I can use to exchange for it. If you back out and want my body again, just tell me." Huo Yuao felt his nose heating up even more, and there seemed to be blood flowing out of it. Nana opened the door before turning back to look at him. She smiled. "You don't seem that annoying now. Better than that arrogant self in the morning. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.